Welcome back for part 3 of Nancy, Drew, and the Clew Crew Sleepover Slets. And as you all know, I didn't tell you, in part 2, I did mess up just a tad bit with the words, but I can't even, tell you guys the words, but I just messed up with a little bit of them. Alright, so let's start chapter 3 and see what happens. Alright, here we go. Chapter 3. Hello, Dolly. Nancy recognized the slipper and the voice. Nadine Nardo marched over with her hands planted on her hips. Her bottom lip jutted out in a pout. I was saving my allowance for Hollywood Heather, Nadine said. I'm going to be a star someday, so I should have Hollywood Heather. Well, Deidre said, she's mine. Oh, great, George whispered. This is the second fight so far. Why can't we all be friends? Bess whispered. Don't you like your New York Nicky doll? Nancy asked Nadine. She has a cool leather jacket and jeans, and her brown hair is so long and shiny. Sure, I like her, Nadine said, but I can have more than one City Girls doll. You can play with Hollywood Heather anytime, Nadine, Deidre sighed. She then yelled up the basement stairs, Mom, time for cake. While the girls admired Hollywood Heather, Nancy looked at Trina and Nadine. They both seemed pretty upset. Cake, Mrs. Shannon sang as she walked in. Mr. Shannon followed. He was carrying a birthday cake glowing with candles. As he set it down, everyone smiled. It was decorated with a picture of Hollywood Heather. After everyone sang happy birthday, Deidre made a secret wish. Then she blew out the candles. Let's eat, you guys, she announced. The cake tasted as good as it looked. Nancy was enjoying a big piece until she dropped frosting on her cupcake pajamas. Oh well, Nancy sighed. Now I have chocolate frosting on my cupcakes. Soon there was only one piece of cake left. Cassidy was about to reach for it when Deidre said, No, you don't. I'm the birthday girl, so I'm saving it for tomorrow. Meanie, Cassidy said, stomping her foot. After cake, everyone painted each other's toenails purple, pink, and blue. A few minutes later, the girls began to yawn. We can't fall asleep, Madison said. We're supposed to stay up all night, Kendra said. I guess we have to remember that it's called a sleepover, Nancy said with a yawn, and not a wakeover. I'm putting Hollywood Heather on the windowsill, Deidre said, so everyone can see her as we fall asleep. She carried the doll to the windowsill. Since they were in the basement, the window was much higher than usual, too high for Deidre to reach. Let me do it, Trina said. I don't play basketball for nothing. She took Hollywood Heather, reached up and placed her carefully on the windowsill. Thanks, Deidre said quietly. No problem, Trina answered. The girls lined their gear up against the walls. Then Deidre snapped a picture of everyone underneath the window. It's for my website, Deidre said. I want the whole world to know I have a Hollywood Heather doll. After brushing their teeth and washing their faces, the girls unrolled their sleeping bags and snuggled inside. Nancy lay between Bess and George. When the lights were out, she could see Hollywood Heather shining in the moonlight. It's dark in here, Cassidy suddenly whined. No spooky stories, okay? How about some jokes? George asked in the dark. Why can't you give a cookie to a teddy bear? Why? Cassidy's voice asked. Because they're always stuffed, George said. Some girls laughed. Some groaned. My turn, Nancy said. How do you know if an elephant's been in your refrigerator? How? Bess asked. Because, Nancy said, she could feel her eyelids getting heavier and heavier. His footprints are in That was the last thing Nancy remembered before falling asleep. The next thing she knew, an arm was shaking her awake. Where is she? Deidre asked in a shaky voice. Where's Hollywood Heather? Huh? Nancy asked. She rubbed the sleep out of her eyes. The room was light. The clock on the wall read 8 o'clock. Deidre was walking between the sleeping bags. Where's Hollywood Heather, you guys? She cried. Nancy looked at the windowsill. Then she sat straight up. Hollywood Heather was gone. Dun, dun, dun! Oh boy, you guys, you never know what's going to happen in these books. Well, now we know, the next thing that we know, the doll is missing. So the only thing that I got wrong there, I accidentally, when it was the Mr. Shannon's part, I accidentally said she, but that was it. Yeah, so guys, it's already 11:23. Wow, it's late. We usually don't have lunch until like 12 o'clock. We have breakfast at 8:30. We have lunch at 12 o'clock, and we have dinner at 5:30. That's like our routine, kind of. Yeah, so I still have got some time. So we'll see what happens in Chapter 4. So make sure you tune right back in to see what will happen in Chapter 4 of Nancy Drew and the Clew Crew. Bye-bye.